Hi everyone and welcome to our specialty class today. Today I'm going to share 20 gold little nuggets on how to use this glass mat. So each week people send me questions. This question was sent back to me quite some time ago. Sorry, I'm just trying to work out the lighting in here today. For some reason I'm picking up a stream of light. When the glass mat first came out, I was asked, how do you use it? How do you get the best out of it? Well, since I've been using, I think it's about 7 months now or 8 months now, I'm not sure. I've been writing down little ideas that I've used and put them together to actually make a video so that I can share with you how to get the best out of your glass mat, whether you're a professional card maker, scrapbooker, or just someone who's just starting out. Hi Sandra, how are you? Good to see you come on. So so I've got quite a few little tips. It probably might take us a little bit more than a half an hour today, but that's okay. We might just go over, but I just want to share and give you some great gold nuggets on how to get the best out of this it is a beautiful product that we have, and I love it because it just sits right there on my workbench. That's my area that's got to stay clean so that I know when I'm doing my videos that it's all there. So that's the main thing. Hi, if you don't know who I am, if you're new on here, my name's Teresa Brown and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and have been for 18 years. I live in Warragul in Victoria, in Melbourne, and I just love to share and create with anyone and everyone that loves card making, scrapbooking, but also I like to share and give you the best value of how to get the best from your tools, because it's no good buying something and then not knowing the value that you can get from that product that you've purchased. Hi Lillian, good to see you come on. So I'm going to get started, and if you come on a bit later, you can always watch the replay. Maybe grab a pen and paper and write down the gold nuggets and join in on interacting on the comments as well. So let me come down and show you this glass mat. Okay, I'm going to put that paper there for a minute and I'm going to put this over here. Okay, let's come down. So the Glass Mat Studio, I'm just going to bring my phone up a little bit more so that you can probably see. Sorry guys, just playing around with my equipment here for a minute, just to make sure that you can get the best from this glass mat. The glass mat is something that I work on, so it's a fantastic tool to have in your stash, and I'm hoping that you can sort of see. It's quite big, actually. It's quite big. It's bigger than a grid paper, so it's quite big. So what does it come with? I'm just going to put that back there for a minute. It comes with a shammy so that you can wet the shammy. It's a good shammy. You can wet it and it just wipe over the mat and clean it. So, it's a really good one. It's soft, it's flexible. You don't need it really wet. You just need to wring it out. Once you've finished with it, you can put it in a Ziploc bag, or you can put it in one of our Stampin' Up containers, like our other chamois, like this one, my nice dirty chamois from the stamps. Look at that, from yesterday's class. So you can put them in the containers. These are fantastic. You get a set of 4 of these. These are the they're good, these little containers, for lots of things. Like you can put your brads in here and lots of other things. So that'll be another day's class. Also, you get with the chamois this beautiful silicone mat, which is fantastic. Now there's a lot of things you can do and use this silicone mat for, which I'll be going through shortly with you as well. But the first thing I want to share on this beautiful mat is that we've got the inches up the top here, and we've got inches down the side here, and then we've got centimetres down this way and centimetres up here. Now, depending on which country you're in, I'm sure that if you're in a country where you use inches, that it'll be down here in front of you. But here in Australia, our centimetres are down here because this is what we use most of. So some people still use inches. It can go either way. So the first thing I want to share with you is it's great to stamp on. I'm just going to move this over here for a minute. And I'm just going to grab a block and a stamp and just share as we go a little image of something. It's not going to be a big image. But the one thing I do love is that you can put your pads on here. This is a silicone, it doesn't move. It's really good. It holds your pads really steady on here. So, and really easy to just stamp on. So it works well with our red rubber stamps and also our photopolymer stamps. Now, sometimes when I'm using my photopolymer stamp, you might want a little bit of, I'm just going to grab my shammy and wash this red stamp as we go along. Okay. So if you're using a photopolymer stamp, I'm just going to grab one. I think one's in here. Yes. I usually use my silicone mat here. So this is another silicone mat that we have, which is really great. And I'm just wiping it because for some reason it gets hair and all sorts of stuff on it. So I just, when I'm using my photopolymer stamp, which is a clear one, I like to put my silicone mat under there. It just gives it a tiny little bit of padding for when we come down, and you still get that beautiful clear image. Okay, so to me that's a real win. You still get a clear image on the glass, but I just like to give it just that little bit, because on your photopolymer stamps you don't have the sponging in between like you do on your red rubber stamps. Okay, so like in here. So I like to do that. But that's just me, and I'm just sharing my ideas with you. Okay, so I'm just going to clean that stamp as well. Okay, so you can also, it's very easy to clean. So that's another thing that I love about this. You can also use a permanent marker or a Sharpie on here, so you can sort of put your name on your board, and you can clean that off. You can also use your blends on here, but they will smudge a little bit, but you can, oh, that's a really light colour on there. I need a darker colour, don't I? Let me grab a darker one so you can see it. Okay. You can't see that green. Okay, so you can sort of see that you can write on here too, and you can use your blends, which you can't use your blends, are pretty permanent. So it's not very often that you get to use your blends on anything other than on your cards or whatever. So you can use them on your wood, glass and all that sort of stuff, but it's usually pretty permanent. But there's something on here that's fantastic. Now you can use your shammy to remove the blend, and it might not come off all the permanent ink with your shammy, and you think, oh, what have I done? How am I going to get that off? Well, we've all got hand sanitizer, alcohol, it's really fantastic. So all I say is grab yourself a little bottle. This little bottle sits here on my workbench. You only need the tiniest little bit, and wipe it off your mat. So it just removes it so easy. So just a little container of hand wipe will last you forever. It just comes off really, really easy. So a bit of paper towel and it will come off. So that's really, really, to me, is a win-win, that you can actually write some notes down here with your permanent marker. You can write your measurements on this clear section here. You've got this beautiful clear section here. So if you're making a box, you could write all the measurements down here if you wanted to with your permanent marker for your class or for yourself. And if you're doing a class, you could write them down here, and then you can also add them to your book later on. So that's another fantastic tip that I really love. So not only does it clean really well, and like I said, use your hand sanitizer for your permanents, you also can cut on it. So let me just share this. Now we have a beautiful tool called the pick tool. Pick a tool, and I love this picker tool. I really do. And I've got the brush, but I didn't bring it over. It's sitting over on my bench with my die cutting machine. But I love this picker tool because you can use it so many ways on this mat as well. So say for instance you want to use the scoring. Now the thing that I love is this is our piercing mat, and it just is fantastic for our, like on this glass mat too. Like it just sits on there. It's really great. So you can grab a ruler. So grab a ruler if you want to do some scoring. Say you haven't got your score tool, or maybe you don't have a scorer on your cutting trimmer like we do on ours. You can actually use your score to score your paper, okay? And you've got two sizes, so you can pull it in. You've got the small size and you've got the large size. So that's really handy, so that just scores it over. So you can use your scorer on that, which is fantastic. I love that. You also have your putty end. Whoop, come out. Okay, the putty end is to pick up like your little sequins, anything like that that might get spill on your mat, that you can just pick up with your putty end and you can put them away. It's fantastic as well. I'm just going to take this putty end off for a minute. Screw that off. Okay. And then we've got a perforating tool as well. Who loves to make bookmark cards? You know, where you're making a card and on the edge of the card you might want to make a beautiful bookmark. Well, the good thing about it is you can line it up onto your page, onto your grid page, or grid board I should say, and you can just come in here and you can go, okay, I can line this up. You can grab your perforating tool, which is fantastic, and you can just perforate down. This is really handy for when you make a card that you want to send to someone, and then they can rip off their bookmark. Really easy. Beautiful tool. It's cut resistant, the glass mat, so you can cut on it. I love the idea that you can cut on it. So also on our picker tool, we have our blade. So our cutting blade. So say you've got to cut around little flowers or cut around something, the cutting blade's really good. Just remember to always make sure that you keep your lids safe. Make sure that it's nice and tight, so this isn't undone, so when you're using it you're not going to break your blade because you want it tight. So we can actually come in here, bring down our thing, and like I said, it's just cuts just so beautiful. You have no problem with our cutting thing, and there's no marks on our cutting glass board. So you can cut on the glass board. So that's a bonus too. Also, you get a piercing tool with this and a spatula as well. plus you get the little brush for your embossing tools or your die cut tools that you can get the little pieces out of as well. So I normally keep a piercing tool on here and my putty tool on here, and I keep the others just here in my little container sitting up so I can just grab them when I need them. I love the perforating tool. Who's got this? Tell me in the comments. Who's got a pick tool with all the accessories? The accessories are all separate. So it comes with the putty, and it comes with, I think it comes with the piercing. Don't hold me on that. It could come with the scorer. I can't remember. It's a long time since I bought mine, and I really can't remember. That's not really good, is it? But anyhow, great tool. So that's another great thing that you can use, is knowing that you can cut on here and it's not going to affect the glass at all. It's, you know, you can cut it, you can perforate it, you can score. So all these things are fantastic that you can do on here and use your picker tool. Okay, it's heat resistant. So what if you're doing embossing? You want to emboss. I'm not going to emboss today because it makes a bit of a mess. But if you're embossing, you can use it and hold your tool, hold your paper down. So I would hold my paper down either with the pick tool or my piercing tool, and you can heat emboss it. So fantastic for that as well. Okay. What about blending? Blending's fantastic as well. Let's grab our paper back here, and I'm going to just grab my silicone mat back over here. I like my silicone mat on here because I can put my inks on here when I'm working. It's great to have right handy alongside of you. So let's say we're going to do a bit of blending. Open our ink pad up and grab a blending brush. And I love our blending brushes. We have small ones or big ones, so they are just so good to use. So to start off with, you just come into your ink, and the thing is, I like this because when you're doing it, it's not going to move away. You don't have to hold your ink and get ink in your hands. Okay, so you can start off on your glass mat, so you don't, and get that colour coming through, and then you can just come over and do some blending, okay, which is really great. So really easy way to blend. You always got a lot of ink still on your glass mat that you can blend through, and that's a really good way of blending. I love using the blending brushes and the glass mat that way. You can just come through with your chamois and wipe that off. The chamois is not really wet, like it's not soaking wet, and I squeeze a lot of the water out of it, and then it will just dry really quick when you're using it. So that's a really plus also, because it dries really fast. So it's really easy to clean up. Now, I have been asked quite a lot of times, how much does it cost in Australia to purchase one of these? It's $106, and you'll get your glass mat, you'll get your silicone sheet and your chamois for the $106, which is fantastic value. You won't regret it. It's got to be a really good purchase if you did buy one. Tell me in the comments if you do have one. Okay, so let me share some more tips with you, or some more gold nuggets, because I tell you what, there's just so many gold nuggets. The other thing I don't know if you would know, or if you know, or if you've used, our cutting mat or our paper trimmer has little feet on it. Oh, I've lost a little foot off there. But this slides in to the glass mat. Okay, so it slides in the glass mat. It won't move. It will sit there, and you'll be able to do your cutting really well. You can use your chamois on your cutting mat on your paper trimmer as well. So you can clean all around here. and use that shammy for that as well, and it picks up all those little bits of paper because yeah, we get a lot of lint. But how good is that that just fits in between the feet onto our cutting mat? That's a really gold nugget. It stops it from moving around when you're cutting your paper and things like that. So that's one of the things that I really love about it as well. So what's the other things that you can do? It's really great for our mini emboss machine because it's got the rubber feet on the bottom and it won't slip on here either. So you'll be able to pull the mini little die cutting machine down and you'll be able to wind through really well and it won't move. So that's another plus. So it's really handy for you to put your mini die cut machine on. Background stamps. Now, how many of us, we haven't got the big block anymore, huge big block, but how many of you have trouble doing this, what I call a background stamp? I love this for card making as well, like because you can line it up, so you can actually line it up where you want it on your glass mat. So that helps you also then work out where your paper's going to go and all that sort of thing as well, because you'll be able to have measurements on it. So let me just grab a little bit of white paper here. I've got some scraps here. That one's pretty good. Okay. So open up your ink and just come through, and it's not going to move. That's the thing that I love. It's stuck to the glass mat, so you can actually add one colour or you can add multiple colours. So let's just do one colour to start off with, so I can share that with you. So we're just going to grab a tissue. You can grab a piece of paper towel, pop your paper over the top. I just do that so I don't get ink on me from the sides here, because you'll get ink along the sides here. And just give it a really good rub. And it's the best block you could ever have. I love it. It's the biggest block you could ever have is your glass mat. So how gorgeous is that? You just can print out your beautiful image on there. I hope I'm not too far away, but you can bring it in by bringing your fingers in also. But I like to, I'm just going to give that a bit of a rub and get any excess ink off it. And then I can just wipe it over with my shammy as well, which is really, really great. Okay, so... But what if you want to do ink direct to it and add a couple of really nice fancy colours in here? So we might go with some really broad colours. So let's come in with Blackberry Bliss. So we come in with one colour, and then let's come in with Crazy Craze. Okay, so when you're doing ink direct, if you haven't done ink direct before, you need to use the narrow end of your ink pad and just come in and run it across your stamp. Okay, you will get a little bit of marking around it, so it's probably good to have a bit of paper towel or even a wet one and just wipe that. You can tell I've been doing ink direct for a long time. Let's just come in with a dark green this time, Mossy Meadow, and just come in along the bottom here just so you can sort of see what's going to happen here. I love the ink direct. You can go both ways. You can go across and back, so you can bring your paper one way and then the other. Bring your paper over the top. Okay, and then I'll just use this tissue again. Oh, no, I won't. I'll get a clean one. I don't want that on my hands. Pop this over the top and then press down. Okay, now if you've got your brayer, you can actually use your brayer over the top of this and roll it over the top to get that nice finish on here as well, which is really, really great. Okay, so when you lift it up, you can sort of see you've got all the different colours coming through, and you can do it any way that you want to do direct stamping or direct inking. Okay, so that's a really nice way to just put your tissue back over the top, or your paper towel. I usually prefer paper towel because sometimes tissues leave a little bit of paper on there, but just take that off and then grab that chamois again and just give it a wipe. Okay, you can wash your chamois out later in the day and just get your ink off there. Okay, so background stamping is great way of stamping, but you can use it for any stamping any way that you like with this way as well. Okay, it doesn't have to be a background stamp. It can be any stamp. So let's just go for the big daisy here, just to share with you the big daisy. Oh, nearly lost a little part of the daisy. Okay, so say we've got a the daisy here. I'm just going to come down with a bit of paper. I've got a pink bit of paper, that'll do. So we're going to come in with Blackberry Bliss. Just come down onto your stamp. Just leave that for a minute. And you can come down and just rub it onto your card. It's a really easy way of using it as a block. Okay, and you can sort of, yeah, bring it in that way. So you're sort of working upside down a little bit. So once again, just clean your stamp. You clean it straight away. It still marks, but not as much. The reds and the purples and that will mark your stamps, but that's okay. Okay, so you can sort of see, you can use it if you haven't got a block with you, you can use your mat. Okay, so that's a good one, background stamping. So we use the doggy friendly stamp for that big one, and we also use the cheerful daisy stamp. Two-step stamping with a magnet. Now, this is an awesome idea. I don't know how many of you have been doing stamping for a while. You might have had the Stamparatus. Now, the Stamparatus was something that I was really proud of because it was something that I actually took a bit of part in as well. And now we haven't got the Stamparatus. But what if we wanted to line up some cardstock on here? We wanted to line it up. Now, we have our magnets. Where's my magnet? Where's my big magnet? We have our magnets from our Stamparatus. They're very, very strong. So I'm just going to put that underneath the table for the moment, underneath my glass mat. And look at that. I can hold that. I can have another one up here. And I can hold my paper while I'm lining it up to do two-step stamping. Now, two-step stamping is when you stamp an image and then you want to do another image on top of it. And sometimes you just don't want that paper to move. You want to keep it in the same distance. It is easier to have two magnets underneath it to do that. Okay, so you can sort of do that. I've got another magnet here. It doesn't matter, I don't need it. But yeah, you can just move it around. You will feel the magnet under the paper. Okay, you'll feel it, you'll know where it is because it will move. Can you see how it moves? You can move the magnet around. So, fantastic. Just going to wipe that bit of red off there. So let's say we're going to do a two-step stamp. Let's do the small daisy. So we want the outline of the daisy, which we're going to do this is the outline of the daisy. So we're just going to make sure that's lined up pretty straight. I've got my extra pair of hands working for me here. And then we can take this off and we can put our 2-step one on there. It's coming with a completely different colour. And we can line this up, and you don't need your other hand to hold the paper because we have our magnet hanging onto it for us. So that is awesome. Okay, so really easy to do 2-step stamping with using your magnet underneath it. Now, some people I know have, and are privileged to have, and I say privileged to have because this was a beautiful birthday present to me from a friend of mine. Oh, I'm just trying to get it out from underneath all my stuff here. Oh my God. And it's a magnet board. Now, my friend bought this for me and it's got magnets on it, but this board sits underneath the glass mat, fantastic. And then these magnets will sit on top. You can see that they just jump around on there, quite lovely. So if you've got a magnetic board in your house and you've got a glass mat, you might not have thought that you could use it underneath, and it really is handy. You just got to be careful of the negative and the positive on the magnet, okay? Because you don't want something to slam on your mat. I'm just going to move this right up to the end there. Okay, so magnets are a really good way of helping hold for 2-step stamping. Now, our silicone tray, let me get that back because we've got some great tips with this as well. Okay, so if you're doing kits or if you're making kits, we get ink spots. And there's nothing worse than holding your ink spot all the time when you want to ink it up. Okay, so these fit in to these little squares here. Okay, they're fantastic. Now, I'm going to clean this before I use it again. So when we're doing our kits and you've got your ink spots, instead of holding it and getting ink on your hands all the time, you can just come in and pat it this way onto your stamp. You can use this and it's fantastic, and you can just come down and then press onto your project. And I love these for the ink spots. You can fit 4 ink spots in there at a time, which is fantastic. But I love it when I'm doing my kits because you can just do this. And if you're wondering why I haven't shared it before, because I wanted to do this big video of sharing all the different tips and ideas that I've sort of been doing since I got my glass mat. So I wanted to share a lot more with you. So yeah, so they just sit in there so good. I love that they fit in there so easily. Now, another way of using your mat is if you say you're doing watercolouring and you want a watercolour. So let's say that, let's just grab my water. This one here, I'd spray some water in. Okay, make it a little pellet and grab my water brush here. Okay, so I can wet my water brush in here, which is really good, and I can wet this watercolouring paper, which is really awesome. Okay, because this is watercolour paper here. And then I can come in and I can stamp my image. Now, you usually, when you're watercolouring, you're sort of probably coming in with Stays On ink, and you'll probably do that first. But you can sort of see when it's wet, it will bleed out, which is really lovely. And if you wanted to fill in the colours a little bit, you might want to fill in the colours a bit. You can get your ink refills and you can put the tiniest, and I mean the tiniest, little drop and use these as palettes. Okay, you only need the tiniest little bit. I know you probably think, oh, what's she doing? But yeah, you only need the tiniest little bit. Little bit of yellow, a little bit of pumpkin pie. Okay, so great for watercolouring as well if you're into watercolouring. So you can pick up a little bit of the ink and you can mix it in here. So you can sort of see, and you can come through and go, okay, I'm going to finish colouring through that. You can also use your brush on this bit if it's a bit wet. You can come back and you can dry it down. You can also mix your colours in here as well. So you might want to mix two colours together. So when you're doing watercolouring, you can mix, let me turn this over. You can do that as well. Okay, so you can sort of see that it's really easy to pick up and mix your colours together and do some watercolouring. And look how easy that is. It's so handy to have right next to you. Okay, so we've got that right next to us where we can do it. And then you might let it dry. You can clean your brush on here too, so just wipe it backwards and forwards until it gets nice and clean. And your brush is nice and clean, and you can put your lid on. Great tip, great idea. Grab your shammy again and just remove the ink from your palette. So that's a really great way for watercolouring. So you can just now come in with your images. It will still bleed out a little bit. So you can just sort of come in and bleed out your flowers. And it's amazing, the watercolouring. You can mix lots of colours through it. But you can come in with a fantastic different effect when you're doing watercolouring like that. Do a beautiful banner, bookmark, whatever. So that's another thing that you can do. Really, really handy for doing watercolouring. Just make sure that you always have your chamois nice and handy, that you can wipe everything up. And that's the main thing, is have that beautiful chamois. Wash your chamois out after you finish, like completely wash it out in water. And then make sure that it's cold water so it doesn't go smelly. You don't want it in hot water. So you can also use this when you're actually working. You can also put all your tools on here so that they're there ready. You can put your stamps on here as well. And just have everything ready there that you can use for a class or something like that. So that's handy as well. So your take a pick tool is one that I really love. And one of the questions I asked to you today on my Facebook page is, what is the 3 main products that you would have in your kit? Well, I definitely have my glass mat, but I didn't write that yet, but I would definitely have the glass mat. Let me just bring this down and turn you up so I can see you. Hi, Narelle. Good to see you on. Okay, so I hope you got some wonderful ideas. I will put a list of that up when the video comes up. I'll put a list up there for you of what I actually did today, just to remind you as well. And yeah, just jump on, watch the video as many times as you want. It's got some great ideas. I'm glad you enjoyed. Did you know them all, Susan? Did you know all those gold nuggets? Have you got the glass mat? Thanks, Dawn. How are you? Oh, thank you, Sandra. I'm so glad you learned something new, because that's what I love. I love to share my knowledge, and I love to share with you that hopefully that you get 1 or 2 gold nuggets. You don't have it? Oh, is it on your wish list? I bet it will be after today. It is a fantastic mat. I really love it. Now, it does come with protected corners on it as well. I take mine off. I seem to knock mine off all the time, so I take them off. So it's really lovely. I don't know if I'd carry it around for class to class, like if I was going to in-home classes, but I would definitely take one to demonstrate because it is a fantastic thing to demonstrate. I'm glad you enjoyed the tips, Glenda. And if you haven't watched the live today, don't forget to make a comment when you come in and watch the replay. I'd love to hear what you've got to say. If you've learned something about your glass mat that I haven't mentioned, please put it in the comments. I'm happy for getting the best value from my products, and maybe you've got something that you can share with me. But what a great question this was from this lady. How do you use the glass mat and how do you get the best value? And she sent that to me. I think I only had my glass mat for a week, and I thought, hi Robin, how are you? I thought, well, really, I need to play with it first. So I've been playing with it now, I think for about 7 months, and I've loved it. There's so much you can do with this glass mat. Now, also the other thing is if you get glue on your glass mat, it will come off if it doesn't come off really well. Don't forget sanitizer is your best friend, not only for germs, but for your glass mat. I could sell this, couldn't I? Yeah, so really, really fantastic. When you're using water painting, use your ink refills because you can get the tiniest little drop. They're fantastic, but you could also, you know, use your re-inkers on inking your pads and your markers, but not your blenders. Well, I hope I covered a lot for you today, and I hope you really enjoyed this special session with me today. So God bless you all, and hopefully you all have the most beautiful weekend, and I will see you all back here on Monday. Bye for now.